We're going to get into the AFC West, and we've got a lot to break down with this. I'll turn it over here to Alex.
Well, we've taken the Transcontinental Railroad from the northern part of the country in the Midwest, and we've come down through the. Doesn't Route 66 run through that part of the country? I feel like it does. So
I can't remember. I know obviously Cars. Obviously that was a fun movie, but. Off that note, I'm a Pixar guy. We're
recording this 15 days from opening night kickoff, and there's a red jersey number 15 that's going to have a lot to say about the AFC West as they go for the Kansas City Chiefs, their 10th straight AFC West title. But Chase, let me tell you this, okay? I'm on a walk around Paycor Stadium on Tuesday, and I got to thinking. Is the Chiefs-Chargers Week 1 game a bigger game for the Chargers or the Chiefs?
That, Alex, is a great question because the reason why that question is posed is because of how tough the Chiefs' opening schedule is. I think when you look at the perspective of the Chiefs, you're coming off a Super Bowl loss. You don't want to have any sort of a hangover. The last time the Chiefs came off a Super Bowl loss after the 2020 season to Tom Brady, there was a definite Super Bowl hangover. They were, meddling around 500 over the first half of the season, and then they turned things on later on. And obviously, they've been to the AFC Championship game, ever since 2018. But the big thing is, you look at their schedule. You've got the Chargers, a road game, but not truly a road game. It's out there in Brazil. Then you've got your first home game against the Eagles in a nationally televised window. You got the Giants across the coast on Sunday Night Football, and that's a fierce pass rush they have to play. The Baltimore Ravens, one of the best September teams to play in the NFL, welcoming back, at Arrowhead Stadium. And then you go to Jacksonville on a Monday night game, and Jacksonville's going to be charged up and amped up for that. And then Detroit in mid-October, week 6. So, it is a tough schedule to start the season off for the Chiefs, but then look at the Chargers side of things. The Chargers, you're like, okay, this is the class of the division. I think that's even putting it as an understatement as they're looking for their 10th straight division title, which is just insane. My mind blew up and it got repieced together when you said 10 straight times that they're trying to win the AFC West. So, for the Chargers' sake, how do we encore this? How do we have a better start to the season than what we did last year? With Jim Harbaugh being there in year 2, Justin Herbert is trying to get developed. Rashawn Slater's not out there. If the Chargers are able to get a win to start off the season, one, it puts the Chiefs in such a hole. So to answer your question, I'm honestly going to go ahead and say it's the Chiefs because of how tough of a schedule that they have. They can't fall behind the 8 ball too much. And if they give the Chargers a little bit more ammo, especially at the start of the season by beating them in a head-to-head matchup, it gives Los Angeles so much confidence going forward. And the rest of the division's like, wow, these guys fell out of the first game of the week. Let's see how the rest of this thing plays out.
Did you know the Chargers play each of the other 3 AFC West teams in the first 3 weeks of the regular season?
That's a rough slate right there. Rough pool.
I've never seen that before.
Never.
So you're going to find out a lot about the Chargers really quickly. But my thing is, if let's say the Chiefs beat the Chargers week 1, and we look at it from the Chargers' perspective, it's like, well, they lost to the Chiefs. We know that they're the measuring stick in the division. Same old song and dance. If the Chiefs lose, sound the alarm, potentially. Mm-hmm. Because as you said, you're 0-1, you're down a game in the division, and you're staring down Philadelphia. And I would go on a limb and say Philadelphia should be favored in that game. Because I think they are the much better team on paper. By the way, Fox NFL Sunday and Fox NFL Kickoff will be in Kansas City on September 14th. So a big day for Fox. That might be one of their biggest days of the year or in their entire existence of broadcasting NFL football games. Anyway, so that wasn't even one of the 5 burning questions courtesy of Lindy's Magazine and their NFL Preview Edition. We've got 5 burning questions of the AFC and NFC West. We'll start with the AFC West. Question number 1, it relates to the Chiefs, Chase. Can Andy Reid unseat Don Shula as the NFL's winningest head coach? If the Chiefs keep winning like they have the last 9 seasons, I think the answer is yes.
I think it is too. I think, Andy Reid might be the greatest offensive mind to ever, put on a headset in the National Football League, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think that he definitely could catch Don Shula with the way his teams have been performing, the consistent success that you have. As long as he's got number 15 and a couple other pieces, Chris Jones on the other side, they've got other defenders that are younger that are, really stepping up in their status. And, he's got Spags, everybody else. As long as he's keeping a pretty core unit together, Andy Reid knows how to win football games. And I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So, yes, I think he could definitely catch Don Shula.
3-time Super Bowl champion as a head coach. He's been to he's been to 2 other Super Bowls. 2 others? No, 3 others, excuse me. He's been to 6 Super Bowls in his career. He's been to 12 conference championship games, 5 in the NFC, 7 in the AFC. That, when you put it that way, it tells you how good of a head coach he is. Question number 2, how surprising was it that the Raiders – by the way, Louis Riddick said on ESPN Wednesday that he thinks the Raiders could sneak into the playoffs more so than the Bengals, which I find just ridiculous, but okay. How surprising was it, though, that the Raiders chose to not draft Shedeur Sanders?
I don't think it's that surprising. I mean, Shedeur Sanders had a little bit of a run-in. I don't want to bring legal stuff into this and everything else because we don't know the full extent. Shedeur Sanders had a problem driving in the city of Cleveland. Could you imagine what happened if it was in Vegas? There's so much. But what I'm saying is, what I mean by this is, for Shedeur Sanders, obviously, your job is to go out there, play football, everything else, and, personal life, football life, all that stuff set aside. There's a lot of stuff that you could be enticed to do in Vegas. And a lot of that stuff that, they say the old saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever you do in Vegas is going to be put out there to the entire world and literally blown up into bigger, larger 96 Times New Roman caps that read across the paper. He's doing something that he should not be doing. That's the thing. So I think for the Raiders standpoint, they went out and they got a veteran quarterback in Geno Smith. And Geno Smith still has some good football. He actually has played better football as he's gone along. Once he got that chance in Seattle in 2022, he really hasn't played bad football at all. He walks into a situation with Brock Bowers as his tight end. They draft Ashton Jeanty. They have Jacoby Myers on the outside. They have a good nucleus of players out there that he can throw the football to, but also can lean on the run game. Pete Carroll, wherever Pete Carroll goes, Pete Carroll can win football games. So I think it's going to be a bit of a process. I don't think they're going to be a team that slips into the playoffs this year. And not to mention on the defensive side, you got a guy like Max Crosby, all right? One of the 5 or 6 best pass rushers in the National Football League, one of the most feared players in the National Football League. So in situation, is it surprising that they didn't draft Shedeur Sanders? I think in typical Raiders fashion, it's surprising. But when you've got Pete Carroll, you have an adult in the building, you're going to go out and get other adults at, those higher positions. And Geno Smith has proven that, over the last couple of years that he can play the quarterback position at, a pretty high level.
I think we're seeing a rebrand of the culture within the Las Vegas Raiders. You bring in a guy like Pete Carroll, an adult in the room. Geno Smith keeps his nose clean off the field. You mentioned Jacoby Myers, a wide receiver. I'll give you another name to watch for this season. Jack Besh, the rookie wide receiver from TCU. Big things, I think, coming from him this season. So the Raiders, I think we all kind of thought this was a good landing spot for Shedeur Sanders, but it's surprising at the surface, but you kind of dig a little deeper. It's like, do you really want that distraction if you're the Las Vegas Raiders and you're trying to play your way back into contention in the AFC West? Speaking of quarterback, question number 3, behind Patrick Mahomes, who's the next best quarterback in the division?
It's Herbert. I know people talk about Herbert as, Mr. If, the hypothetical, whatever you want to put behind it. Herbert's the second best quarterback. But I will say this, the second best quarterback when it comes to possible success this year, and I don't want to hint at it too much, I think it's going to end up being Bo Nix. I think what the disposal of Sean Payton beside him and what the Broncos have been able to build, I think Bo Nix is going to end up going further than Justin Herbert this season. But when it comes to just talent overall and looking at the quarterback and what you need at that position, I think Justin Herbert is overall the best, the better player and second in that division at QB.
You and I have been a mile high on Bo Nix and the Broncos this offseason, but at the end of the day, Justin Herbert in his first 5 seasons has been as good statistically as any quarterback in NFL history. I understand he doesn't have a playoff win. I understand you don't see him on Thanksgiving or Christmas. But when you do see him play, he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and I don't particularly think there's a debate about that. You can say what you.
Sorry, I was going to say how many percentage of the league. How many teams do you think would take Justin Herbert as their quarterback compared to what they have right now?
I'd say around 60.
I would say 70, but I think we're in that same kind of ballpark.
Yeah, because I mean, the big 4 in the AFC, they're not going to trade theirs. Philadelphia, maybe the Rams would actually, but teams like Philadelphia, Green Bay, Detroit, Washington. Who else would? San Francisco, I don't think would. Tampa Bay would not. There's a handful of teams in the NFC, so
I'd say 65 is. I think right in the middle is pretty fair.
At most 75%, but again, that tells you how good Herbert is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say this. Mm-hmm. Bo Nix is coming.
Oh, he's right there.
Number 4. Will Travis Kelce retire 1 year too late? This is a very food for thought question.
You know, there was quotes that came out when he was talking about him doing stuff with GQ and everything else, like the shoot. He's wanting to tap in more to, the entertainment side of things and everything else. I mean, I think if the Chiefs would have won the Super Bowl this past year, he would have retired. I truly think he would have retired if they would have went the three-peat. He would have just called it quits. I have no inside source on that. I don't have any sort of, like a little worm or a little birdie that's telling me any of that stuff, I don't. But I mean, I think just looking at it, like Kelce had a dip in pretty much all of his statistics compared to the years he's had. Obviously, it's tough to maintain that type of success over that long period of time, which Travis Kelce has been able to do. He's one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the position. He literally has given himself not even like a tight end position. Like he is literally it's almost like you have just a big man. You kind of label him as a big man that catches football. Look at Kevin Harlan say, look at the big man run. Like that's literally Travis Kelce every time he catches a football and everything else. He's one of the best pass catchers of all time in the NFL. But, to answer that question, I think he'll be a bit revitalized this year because of being left unsatisfied with not winning the Super Bowl this past year. So I think Travis Kelce is going to be a little bit better this year. I don't know what the extent's going to look like in the offense, but Patrick Mahomes is definitely going to know where 87's out on the field.
Ask me this question again after like week 6 or week 9. If Kelce's off to a start that he got off to last season, then we might be saying, you know what, maybe he should have hung it up after Super Bowl 58. But if let's say he comes out the first 4 weeks and has 4 touchdowns and like 20 or 25 receptions, we're going to be like, yeah, he's fine. Yeah. I mean, this is the Travis Kelce we know. Question number 5, which newcomer to the division will make the biggest impact? I've got mine.
The newcomer. I'm not going to say – I think this guy's going to have a very fun impact on the team, and I think specifically on the defensive side. I really like Talona Hufanga. Wow. I'm going to be completely honest with you. With Patrick Surtain on the outside playing corner, I mean, pretty much, and
Riley Moss.
Exactly. I mean, obviously Riley Moss, like he's, high pick, getting better and stuff like that. They've got 2 good corners, but the Broncos are able to really move around and play man-to-man, zone, play one high safety, have a guy come down in the box and stuff. Obviously, I don't think it's the biggest one, but it's the one that catches my eye the most because you've got Hufanga up top, and then you also have Dre Greenlaw playing linebacker as well. You've got 2 guys that have played in a few Super Bowls for the San Francisco 49ers, and what a great defense is supposed to look like already going into a fantastic defense that has a great pass rush. Now that makes QBs really their clock speeds up. So now there's a lot of these throws that'll be over the middle, that'll be deep, that'll be all over the place. And Talona Hufanga really can make some plays over the top. I'm excited to see what he's got.
Oh, I am too. And think about this, Chase. Okay, Vance Joseph, and you and I know a thing or two about Vance Joseph because he used to be the Bengals secondaries coach. Did you know the Bengals had 41 interceptions in 2014 and 2015 combined, and they only allowed 36 passing touchdowns?
It's insane. I mean, it's ball hawk right there.
So now you have guys that can take the ball away. You're coaching the reigning defensive player of the year. And look at Sean Payton's coaching staff in Denver. Offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, longtime Sean Payton assistant. Vance Joseph, formerly the head coach in Denver. So he knows what he's doing. Darren Rizzi, their special teams coordinator, longtime Payton assistant. This is not rocket science, people. Sean Payton knows what he's doing. And oh, by the way, Chase, he's been there before. And if you know, you know.
Exactly. Proof in the pudding.
And speaking of which, my newcomer making the biggest impact, can I go to the other side of the ball in Denver and say Evan Ingram?
Yeah, I mean.
Here's the thing, Chase. The Broncos have not had a tight end of this caliber since Julius Thomas. They now have that guy. Ingram is a high risk, high reward. But if he stays healthy and he's productive, try stopping this offense.
Who was the last great tight end Sean Payton had? Oh, I don't know. Jimmy Graham.
Not to mention he also had Jared Cook and made him a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Jimmy Graham's one of one. Let's just keep it real, okay? Let's keep it above.
He was so fun to watch.
Oh, so fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, a great tight end in the Sean Payton offense that can run the football and play action. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a fun one to watch. You obviously can tell we love what Denver has done this offseason.
By the way, their offensive line's pretty good too.
That's very true.
It is. Okay, time now for the top players in the AFC West, courtesy of the Lockdown Podcast Network's top 100 players going into the 2025 NFL season. Chase, there are 13 players in the AFC West. We begin with the number 2 player overall, the number 1 player in the division, and that, of course, would be Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Chase, you can say what you want about Mahomes' production dipping the last 2 seasons. Since Tyreek Hill got traded, the Chiefs have been to 3 Super Bowls in 3 years. You can't deny Patrick Mahomes' greatness.
When you need 15, 15's going to be there. That's all I got to say. Dude wins when he needs to.
6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, and 2-time AP MVP, plus the AP Offensive Player of the Year in 2018. This is arguably the greatest 7-year start to a career. He's been in the league really 8 years, but 7 seasons as a full-time starter in the history of the NFL. By the way, Pro Football Reference has his nicknames listed as Grim Reaper, Showtime, Magic Man, the Musician, Fat Trick, not really sure where that came from, the Gunslinger, that's preserved for Brett Favre, and my homeboy. So, but when your nickname is Showtime, you're pretty good, I think.
I can hear Chris Collinsworth saying, it's Showtime. I can't even do it. Continue.
Okay. We move to the number 2 player in the division, number 9 overall, and that would be Denver Broncos cornerback and reigning defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain II. Chase, this is as good of a player in the NFL overall as we have, and Locked On is giving him his flowers.
Yeah, that's an island out there. You know, obviously, like, you know, you play in Denver, you go to Pat Surtain. It's in Boulder. It's completely you are separate. Wow. You are separate from the offense. There's only a couple receivers that can really get the best of him, but still, Patrick Surtain comes back with his best as well. So it's always fun to see what he's able to do. But man, he takes care of business when business needs to be taken care of. Pat Surtain's one of them ones. He's the best one in football.
Multiple interceptions in 3 of his first 4 seasons. He is very durable. He's played in 66 games, started 65, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, reigning defensive player of the year, double-digit passes defended in each of his first 4 seasons. A truly terrific corner that the Broncos have in Patrick Surtain II. We move to the number 3 player overall, sticking with defense, a player who has been one of the best defensive players in the NFL in his career, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, Chiefs defensive tackle, Chris Jones.
Yeah. Game wrecker in the middle. Chris Jones is very hybrid, though, because he can also play on the edge as well. They move him around a bit. You always have to watch out where 95 is. Scary guy. You know, if you see him unblocked, oh boy. If you see him blocked, oh boy. He's still going to make plays, man. He is the anchor of that Chiefs defense on the defensive line and lets other guys shine. When you're the person that's the focal point and letting other guys get those opportunities as him being that big mutant up front, you obviously know that Chris Jones is one of the best in the game, one of the best all time.
Here's the thing. He's a very easy player to root for. He has tremendous respect for the great players in the NFL, and that's what's so great about him. Like, we know the Chiefs are rivals to the Bengals, but we respect Chris Jones a lot. He's a truly great player. 80.5 sacks through his first 9 seasons. Tackles for loss, he's got 87, 195 quarterback hits. Needless to say, tremendous player. Has been a part of all 3 Chiefs Super Bowl teams. Sticking with defense again, by the way, Chris Jones, number 12 overall. The number 15 overall player, number 4 in the division. Raiders edge rusher Max Crosby. Chase, were the Raiders justified in paying him this offseason?
Yes, they were. Again, they show what their identity is. They are, a nasty football team, and they got a nasty pass rusher on the opposite side in Max Crosby. So I think Max Crosby is one of the best pass rushers in the world, one of the most feared defenders. And, I think they were justified in paying him what he's worth.
Prior to last season, where he missed 5 games, he never missed a game through the previous 4 seasons. So he's incredibly durable. 59.5 sacks through his first 6 seasons and a 4-time Pro Bowler. Okay, continuing on down the list, we move to number 27 overall, number 5 in the division. That would be Chiefs center Creed Humphrey. This guy has really found a place along the Chiefs offensive line. A rookie in 2021, the year after the Chiefs offensive line got decimated in Super Bowl 55. He's been arguably one of their most important players, not named Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, or Chris Jones.
Plug and play and payoff. That's what Creed Humphrey has been. And usually when you talk about offensive linemen and you know their name, especially during a game, they're usually not doing a great job. He's one of the, few in that regard where it's like consistently you talk about best centers in the game. Creed Humphrey's one of the first ones that comes up there.
3-time Pro Bowler, a first-team AP All-Pro this past season, and a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Finished 3rd for Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2021 behind Mac Jones and some guy named Jamar Chase. That tells you how good he is. We got tremendous respect for Creed Humphrey. Continuing on down the list, the number 6 player in the AFC West, we move to number 38 overall. That would be Raiders tight end Brock Bowers. This guy is really broken out already, and big things are expected. By the way, he's got a competent quarterback now playing with him this season.
Yes, he does, man. And Brock Bowers can do it all. He can catch in the flat. He can take some of the top off the defense as a deep threat. He can also run the football as well. I mean, Brock Bowers is pretty much your Swiss Army knife at a very high rate. But man, how can you not love Brock Bowers as a receiver, man? He's awesome. 112
catches, 1,194 yards, 5 touchdowns, 61 first downs on 112 catches. That's a very good number right there.
Yeah.
And 153 targets. This guy is just getting started. Named to the Pro Bowl and was a first-team All-Pro, finishing 2nd and Offensive Rookie of the Year. And when you finish 2nd behind Jaden Daniels and what he did, that tells you how good Brock Bowers is. Moving to the number 7 player in the division, number 39 overall, that would be Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. Again, Chase, we're not going to question Herbert's greatness. He finally has Jim Harbaugh coaching for him. And here's the thing. The Chargers literally told you with their draft picks what they're going to do. They want to run the football. So what do? They sign Najee Harris in free agency. And then it's like, we're not done yet. We're going to take old Marion Hampton, the best running back behind Ashton Genty in the NFL draft.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Chargers' plan is to run the football, but when you got a quarterback like Justin Herbert to make his life a bit easier at that point, you can show off his arm down the field when people are loading up the box, and now you got receivers, running with one-on-ones, 40, 50 yards down the field. You can show off the as advertised arm that Justin Herbert has and has shown to have. The guy threw for over 5,000 yards his second year in the NFL and has been very consistent when it comes to playing high-level football, especially in the regular season. Justin Herbert is a very good quarterback.
Exceptionally. Double-digit wins in 2 of his previous 3 seasons, led the Chargers to the playoffs last year in Jim Harbaugh's first season with the team, nearly 3,900 passing yards, led the NFL and finished with a career-low 0.6 interception percentage. That number is key right there. His previous career low was 1.4 back in 2022. We move to the number 8 player in the AFC West, and that would be the number, I got to go a little further down the list here, the number 51 player overall, one of the really good lockdown corners in the NFL. Chiefs cornerback Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, I mean, Trent McDuffie has made a name for himself ever since he got into the league. Really had to fill in some big shoes as being that number one guy. He played a little bit in the slot, now moving on to the outside. I mean, he's covering the best receivers on other teams, and Spags has really relied on McDuffie as time has gone on. This dude had to really grow up in that second half of the season in 2022. As you know, that secondary for the Chiefs was very young, but once they got past that bye week and once they got into the thick of things later on in the season en route to winning a Super Bowl, those guys grew up before their eyes, and Trent McDuffie was the one that stood out on the back end.
He was first team All-Pro in 23. He only had 7 passes defended that year. This past season, he had 13. And keep in mind, the Chiefs secondary lost L'Jarius Sneed last offseason, and all McDuffie did was man an entire one half of the field. And he faced some pretty darn good receivers, including Jamar Chase in week 2. Continuing to the number 10 player in the AFC West, and that would be the number, the number 70 player overall. That would be Broncos offensive guard Quinn Miners. He has really been a rock on that offensive line for the Broncos that has been just completely revived over the last really 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn's been very good. Again, when you're not mentioning offensive lineman's name, then usually they're doing a pretty good job. And he's been one of those guys that hasn't really been mentioned a lot, but it's nice to see him get those flowers. And, it's been a very big part of that Denver offensive line and really the rebuild that the Broncos have had under Sean Payton. I mean, it's going to be important to run the football, and he's a big reason why they're able to do it successfully, regardless of whoever's back there.
Austin, all of Sean Payton's offensive wizardry in New Orleans was how good their offensive line was through all those seasons. Guys like Jari Evans and Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk. And now you go to Denver and you got guys like Quinn Miners and Mike McGlinchey and so many other key players up front. Quinn Miners coming off a first-team All-Pro 2024 campaign. He has not missed a game in 2 seasons. That's key for him and the Broncos. The number 11 player in the division, and that would be the number 72 player overall player who is still going strong in what is already going to be his 12th season in the NFL, Khalil Mack, the Chargers edge rusher.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's been doing this thing ever since he got drafted by the Raiders, which seemed like lifetimes ago. Man, Khalil Mack has been a baller. He played for the Bears for a bit. I mean, he really took over the offseason that year in 2018 when he got traded and then was such an immediate impact player there. But, been a consistent guy now with Joey Bosa being in Buffalo. They're going to rely more on Khalil Mack as that veteran presence. The Chargers have a slew of guys that they can, blitz, Russell Pasher with Jesse Minter being their defensive play caller. But Khalil Mack, I mean, he's been a stronghold over the course of his career.
9-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, member of the Hall of Fame's All-2010s team, and the 2016 AP Defensive Player of the Year when he was with the Oakland Raiders. He was truly special that season. Moving down the list, we've got the number 12 player overall, in the AFC West, and the number 85 ranked player overall. That would be Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Now, he's a little low on this list, but then again, when it comes to big games, especially in the playoffs, you know where the ball is going. The question is, can you stop it? Yeah.
A cheat code, something that hasn't really been seen a whole lot of. He's a receiver living in a tight end's body. Pretty much that any analyst has said about him is very true. And, Travis Kelce, one of the greatest pass catchers in football history, regardless of size, shape, dimension, whatever you want to slice it up to.
10-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Fame, All-2010s team. The number 13 player in the AFC West and the number 87 player overall, a player that Chargers radio announcer Matt Money Smith recently said should have been a Pro Bowler, he said that about another player, but this guy is a 4-time Pro Bowler, and that would be Chargers safety Derwin James. He made the Pro Bowl last year. He's also a 2018 first-team All-Pro, and that was as a rookie. This guy, when healthy, is really, really good.
Yeah, we forgot about the name Derwin James, and I don't know how we can. I mean, obviously the injuries are the big thing, but yeah, when he's on the field, I mean, he is as advertised, one of the hardest hitting safeties in the National Football League. And, a big part of the Chargers' success when he is out there on the field as that guy that's not letting anything get over the top of him, and he is a punisher underneath.
Injuries aside, he's only missed 7 games the last 4 seasons, and he's been to 3 Pro Bowls in that span. So look, you may overlook him with a guy like Kyle Hamilton or Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph. Derwin James is right up there with them. So those are the top 13 players in the AFC West. Now we look at the AFC West matchups. There are a ton that you're going to see on primetime, that you're going to see on national TV, starting with the first Friday in Brazil, Chiefs-Chargers. By the way, the announcing crews in the booth and in studio are outstanding for the first ever NFL game on YouTube and YouTube TV. Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Stacey Dales, and Terry McCauley on the game broadcast in the studio. I mean, look at the studio lineup for that game, Chase. Kay Adams, Brandon Marshall, Cam Newton. There's another player. I'm trying to remember who it was.
There's a lot of great talent in there. I'll say that.
Who's the other player? It's escape. Is it? Why do I think it's Josh Norman?
I cannot remember. Yeah.
It's a great, fantastic studio lineup. Let's just say that. That's going to be a great game. Chargers, Raiders, Monday Night Football, 10 o'clock on ESPN in week 2. So we'll be pulling a late night for that. Week 3, week 5. Excuse me, I'm all over the place right now. Week 10, this is a fun Thursday Night Football matchup. Raiders, Broncos in Denver in November. That's going to be fun. Chiefs, Broncos, 4:25 on CBS in Denver, week 11. You've got the Broncos and Chiefs on Christmas night in week 17, which could be for the AFC West title. I would not be surprised if it is. Let's get to some division predictions. Chase, you have yours. I have mine. We'll start with you.
All right. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this division at 13-4. Again, everybody's like, man, the Chiefs, coming off the Super Bowl hangover. Is there going to be a hangover? They have a tough schedule to start off the season. What about this? I still think they're going to be really good. As long as Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, those guys are on the field, and and those guys are able to step up, I think they're always going to have a chance until proven otherwise. So I got the Chiefs winning the division at 13-4. In second place, I've got the Denver Broncos at 11-6. Again, me and Alex have been riding high on this team, a mile high to say the least, but 11-6 this year. I think that they're going to come out of the gate pretty strong. I think they're going to come out of the gate really strong is what I'll say. I think they split with Kansas City is all I'll put it. I won't tell you which and where and all that stuff, but I do think they split. But I think the Broncos are a really good season.
And they should have beaten the Chiefs twice last year. And then the Chargers and the Raiders. I'm interested to see where you have them.
I have the Chargers 8-9. I think the Chargers fall off a cliff right before Christmas. Not so jolly of a holiday season for Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Maybe a lump of coal might come in their way. I think the Chargers are going to be, pretty good going into December. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about their schedule as it gets later on down the stretch. Not entirely sure about that one. Raiders on the back end. I think they're winning 4 games. I think it's going to be tough for them. Obviously, I think they're going to play a lot of closer games than people would expect. But, I'm someone's got to be at the bottom. I just think it's going to be them.
So, like you, I have the Chiefs winning the division 12-5. I have them as my number 3 seed. The Broncos, I also have a 12-5. I think the Chiefs finished with a better division record than the Broncos, so they have the tiebreaker. I have the Broncos as my 5 seed. Chargers at 10-7, just missing the playoffs, and then the Raiders at 7-10. I think they're going to be much better and much more competitive. But the thing about Kansas City, it's Denver's not intimidated by them.
No,
because they can line up on both sides of the ball and say, "Come at us, we're ready." Like that's what they're going to do. And for anybody out there that doesn't think that thinks Bo Nix is being carried by Sean Payton and the Broncos coaching staff or the guys around him or their great defense, stop. Seriously. Okay. Bo Nix had one of the best rookie seasons statistically in NFL history last year. So there's a reason why the Broncos are going all in with him and Sean Payton as their quarterback and head coach. The AFC West, a division of champions, for a reason. By the way, Pete Carroll, one of only 3 head coaches to win a national championship and a Super Bowl at the college and NFL levels. Chase, do you know who the other 2 are?
Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson.
That's correct.
And here's something else funny before we end this AFC West portion. Pete Carroll, if he would have won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, would have been the only coach ever to win multiple national championships and Super Bowls in NFL history.
And all you had to do was give the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
At the one.
All you had to do.
Sorry, Seahawks fans. See you in the next video, Seahawks fans. We're talking pretty highly about your team, maybe.